Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing a review of the Strv 74A2, which was a special tank, which is not really a special tank, but it is a rarish tank, auto-loading tier 6 medium tank, first ever autoloader in the game, I think, part of the hybrid nation. It's pretty much a Swedish tank, but because there isn't a Sweden in the game, they've put it in the hybrid nation, which has got this cool flag. Yeah, first autoloading tank in the game. I got it during the most recent, so it will be the 2017/18 Winter Fair, which was definitely not as good as the first Winter Fair. But hey, I got a Chieftain T95 from it. Which I really shouldn't have done. But yes, so I got this thing anyway, a long time after it was released, which is why this is coming out so late after its first initial release. But yeah, so let's have a look at it. So yeah, it's tier 6, 37% protection, 38% firepower, 47% shot effectiveness, and 43% maneuverability. 1010 rather hit points with the improved assembly to increase our HP. It's normally 950, which is worse than the VK. It is better than the Firefly, which goes up. Well, actually, no, I think it's on par with the Firefly. What else? Cromwell B, yeah, 960, so it's worse than the Cromwell B, not including upgrades. It's worse than the AC4. It's better than the Victory because Russia, and it's on par with the Panzer IV-S. So yeah, it's not got the most HP, but then again, it doesn't have the least. It's sort of on par with most of the other nations, other than the British, because they seem to have slightly more HP, and of course the Russians, because the Russians just don't have much HP for their mediums for some reason. At least not at tier 6. But yes, so it's got a decent amount of HP. However, the armour pretty crap. 73 frontal hull, 63 side and rear, 76 front and side turret armour, 51 rear. Not particularly great. It's very much like the Fury in that regard. Fury has got actually less HP, less frontal armour rather. It's still not particularly great armour. You'll bounce some shots, but you won't bounce all of them. It's not like the VK, which has got decent enough armour because it is 60 and sloped at a pretty decent angle there. It's not like the Schmolterm of the Panzer IV-S, which is just a big slab of metal. No, it is pretty crap armour, but then it's only a tier 6 medium. It doesn't have. They never generally have particularly good armour. If you look at the Firefly, the Sherman, the Cromwell, the Victory, they've all got alright armour. They'll bounce some shots, but most of the time it'll go straight through. And same as with this, it's pretty wafer armour. Maneuverability, however, 26 tons with a 357 horsepower engine, not particularly great. If you look at the Cromwell B, which is the same weight, however it has got a much beefier engine. The Victory has got a 520 weighing 33 tons. This has got 30 tons with a 440 horsepower engine, and it is not the quickest tank out there. The Fury as well, 520 horsepower. So really, this thing is pretty slow, pretty sluggish. And in my gameplay, the first game that I had, it was just slightly too slow for my liking. I could have survived the battle. I could have won for the team with 5 kills, and it would have been a glorious victory. However, I was just too sluggish, even with engine upgrade, and it's just such a shame because it is it's such an annoyance because it just doesn't have the best power to weight, nor does it have the best acceleration, which means it is just too sluggish. I was going up against one of these things, the VK 3006, 3006H, and it has got a 500 horsepower engine, and it will weigh, well, with its top gun, weighs around 42 tons, which is not particularly fast, and it's pretty heavy with not particularly great horsepower engine. But even so, with his turret traverse and his hull traverse, he was still just about able to keep up with me, and finished me off, which was just such a shame. I'm still upset about it. Which means, yeah, the manoeuvrability not that great. 45 kilometers per hour top speed, but again, terrible power to weight, terrible acceleration. As for traverse speed, 43 degrees per second and a 50 degrees per second turret traverse. The actual traverse speeds themselves are quite good. It's just the actual tank mobility itself. The engine is the thing that's letting this thing down, which is the biggest shame, really. As of the tracks, 31 ton load limit, yeah. The engine, it's a twin Scania Varbis 607, so yeah, 20% chance for an impact. Just such an underpowered engine. It's hardly better than a Churchill's engine, because with its Bedford Twin 6, it's got a 350 horsepower engine, not including engine upgrade. So yeah, if your engine is the same as that in a Churchill, it's probably not a particularly great engine. As for the turret, yeah, 275 meters view range, yeah, that's decent enough. But the gun is the thing which sets this thing out from the rest of its peers at tier 6, and that is because it is an auto-loading medium tank. 3 shells in the magazine, 2 seconds between each shell reload time, and a full magazine will take you 14.38 seconds to reload. Which is, yeah, it was very new for when it was first released. No one had ever seen autoloaders, of course, but now we've got the French, which have got autoloaders on their tanks, and various other things like the Predator, which has got an autoloader. But for a medium tank, this was the first ever autoloader, and it was on a medium, and everyone was all excited about it. The average penetration, however, for this gun is not particularly the best, with 142 for AP, 189 for APCR, and 42 for HE. Not particularly good. I mean, it's better than the Victory, which has only got 132, I think. Yeah, 132 average pen, and it's not as good as stuff like the Schmalterm, the Firefly, or I suppose the Sentinel as well has even got 145 average pen. So it's not quite as good as any of them, which means that it does luck out, really, in terms of pen. As for damage, it's a standard enough for the 75mm gun that it is. 160 with AP, 135 with APCR, and 200 with HE. Pretty standard to any other 75 gun. It is a 7.5cm L56 .5 Canon Strv 74, which is a bit of a mouthful because yeah, Sweden, bit like Germans in their gun naming apparently. But yeah, as for dispersion, it does have a pretty terrible dispersion before you mount modules on it. But with an improved gun lane drive and improved sights, or whatever it's called, refined gun I think it is, it does go down to 0.34 dispersion, which is fairly accurate at that point. 4.3 second aim time, which is decent enough. It's got alright fire on the move, I found. Also gun depression is not too bad at all. And that is it for those base stats. But yeah, just one other thing to note: gun depression is all right. You can depress the gun fairly decently. It's got an all right gun elevation angle. Just the biggest weakness in terms of gun depression is this stretch of metal, which is what this very weird turret is mounted on. Can't quite remember what name this turret is, but it's very. But the French seem to like it, and this was a French-Swedish design, I imagine. And yeah, it's a very weird turret design, but because it has got this strip of metal here, which is what this thing is mounted in, the gun depression is limited by that. But it does have decent enough gun depression, I feel, anyway. As for ammo, it does carry 102 rounds, which is enough to see you through any battle, really, so you can mix them up as you wish. As for provisions, you've got your standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power and turret traverse. Yes, I got confused there, sorry. Then as for your crew consumables, you've got tinned food and field rations for 3 and 10% respectively to crew mastery. Then you've got your protective kit, 15% to protect your crew from injuries, 10% speed and module repair, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo and fuel tank durability, so you can mount them as you wish. As for consumables, you've of course got your standard repair, first aid, fire extinguisher. Then you've got engine power boost, 20% to engine power for 15 seconds. And then you've got your multi-purpose, which is yeah, just those three rolled into one. No adrenaline because it is an autoloader. Something that you will notice with any autoloader gun that you mount, you will not be able to fit that provision. You will not consumable rather, because it is an autoloader. Gunners do not make that much of a difference, to be honest, but for some reason they do anyway, because of game mechanics. But yeah, so there's it for that. As for these things, I would say calibrated shells for the extra arm penetration, because I've only just realised this, but even without calibrated, because 142 is the average pen, with calibrated shells, if you take it off, you get, what, 135 or something, which is definitely not that great for a tier 6 medium, which means that this thing definitely works better at flanking around the sides and rears, but again, it's just slightly too slow for circling, so you do have to sort of play it with that regard. So calibrated shells, I would say, to get slightly better gun penetration. As much as I would like to have improved vents, I feel the calibrated gun is just more important for the gun. Then you've got improved modules for the extra track and ammo durability. Then coated optics for the extra view range. You could go camo net, but I mean, it doesn't really work as a sniper due to the lower penetration of the gun, especially if you don't have calibrated shells, so I would say coated optics. Then enhanced gun lane drive, get that aiming time down to 4.3 seconds, which is still not particularly great. Well, I mean, it's alright, I suppose. It's alright. It's alright aim time. But yeah, just to get it down from, what, 4.7, is it? Yeah, 4.7 seconds to 4.3. It's just a slight buff, isn't it? Then I would say improved assembly, because yeah, mediums at this tier definitely don't have any need for this one, for the extra hull armor. So I definitely want more HP for the vehicle. So improved assembly. Then engine accelerator, help with the acceleration and all that, even though it's still fairly sluggish even with this, it's still slightly more useful. So engine accelerator, go ahead, whack that on. Then refined gun, to improve it from an almost 4, is it? 3, 4, 5, yeah, about 3.8, 3.9, yeah, 0.39, yeah, about 0.39 dispersion at 100 meters to the 3.4 seconds, which is slightly better. Then refined, then enhanced tracks. It's really a choice between those two, but I always whack on enhanced tracks if I need to. And then your choice of whatever those two things are. So overall, this tank, it's a decent enough autoloader, but as for a medium tank, it's a bit of a meh medium tank. It doesn't have the best penetration, so it's not on par with its peers in that regard. It's got tier 6 medium armor, and it's got tier 6 medium health. The gun, however, is about good for a tier 5 medium rather than a tier 6 medium. It's not a particularly great thing there. The average pen, yeah, just not that great. Gun handling is alright. The stats for the aim time and that is a bit meh. It's alright. It could be worse, could be better, however. So the gun is alright. The armor crap, yeah, it's an alright medium for flanking. I wouldn't go out of your way to get it though. I did because it seemed interesting and I thought it would be good when I got my hands on it, but now that I have my hands on it and I've played it for, let's have a look, 9 battles, I can say it's not that great. It's a massive sample size, I know, but yeah, yeah, it's a meh medium. You can give it a miss if you want it, get it. If you like the autoloader, but honestly, I don't find it that great. Sorry, tank, but it's just not that great. It's alright, I suppose you could say at best. And yeah, that is the Strv 74A2. I will thank you all for watching, and goodbye.